that's a question I haven't been asked yet. And there's a good story to that.
Yes.
There's a song in there called "Fool Me Again," that Tim McGraw cut, and it's track 7 on his record that comes out in August.
It's also Rowdy's song on his album, and so tell me, who did you write it about? Because that's a good song, because it's like, "Fool Me Again," like, you kind of go your separate ways, but you'll get back together, and then the heartache is going to happen again.
I wrote it about my cat.
You wrote it about Clementine? He always posts this cat.
Are you going to post my OnlyFans on here?
Oh my gosh, I should. I mean, you can make extra money.
Well, I got to feed that cat.
I have the one and only Rowdy here with me tonight, and I'm so excited. And most people in North Carolina know this guy as Rowdy. He grew up in Gaston County.
Gastonia, North Carolina. Born and raised.
And everybody's like, "Oh, I remember Rowdy from Coyote Joe's." But then everybody knows Rowdy now because he was like Luke Holmes' right-hand man. Like, the best guitar player. Like, every picture you see of Rowdy is like, you're so full of action. If you don't
do this for everyone, this sort of introduction?
No,
I would like
I told
you
you
to perform at my funeral.
That would be better for your funeral. And he's so awesome that he doesn't even want the AC on in here, so we're about to be sweating it up because
but it's also
warm.
a storm outside.
I know, y'all, it is storming and lightning and thundering.
This is how I always wanted to go.
And I said, "Rowdy, do you think we're gonna die?" And he's like, "Well, if we do, we'll make the news for the 6 o'clock news, but we probably won't make the 9 o'clock. He'll make the 9 o'clock news. I won't make the news at all." But Rowdy.
That would be great. If that happens, just keep it rolling.
No, that would be awful.
I know, that's terrible.
If people watch us die live, that would be terrible.
Well, at least now they're into the podcast. Where should we begin?
You. Okay, so what I love about this guy, one, he has a cat named Clementine. How did Clementine get her name?
This cat just showed up at my house a little over a year ago. And I'm not a cat guy. I don't like cats.
Why don't you like cats?
I don't know. I've just always been a dog guy. And this cat kind of showed up, and then 2 or 3 days into showing up, I had left. I'm notorious for leaving doors open. I just like to leave doors open in my house. And I left the back door open. She came in, crawled up on my lap, cuddled up, stole my heart. But I'd always call her my little darling.
Aww.
And so I think it's that. I don't even know where the song comes from. But, "Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling, Clementine."
Oh,
so it became Clementine pretty quickly.
And so I follow you on Instagram, and this cat has become seriously the love of his life. So obviously the cat is not here with you right now. Mm-hmm. Who's watching the cat?
My girlfriend is watching the cat.
Do you FaceTime your cat?
Oh, yeah.
Every day? Every morning?
I don't FaceTime the cat every day, but I don't really FaceTime anybody but the cat.
His sarcasm is through the roof. If you just get 15 minutes with him, your whole day is going to change and you're going to laugh. And he's an amazing storyteller. And so he has an album, and I recommend you go to Spotify or however you listen to music and play his album. And it's called WildCard. So Heartache Happens. How did you write? What were you thinking when you wrote that song?
The cool thing about the record is that it was just made for fun. I mean, it was made as a passion thing. And so I got to put anything and everything on it, and I got to stylistically interpret it in whatever sound was in my head. It's like making 11 different mini movies the way that I see them and hear them. And that one I had written, 5 or 6 years ago with a guy named Ryan Beaver in Nashville. And it was just I love Keith Whitley. I love sad country music, and it was just probably the quickest song I've ever written, but it was a sort of autobiographical snapshot of the time in my life that I was living.
So it's a really good song. And the girl that you wrote it about, does she know that you wrote it about her?
I don't think that song I wrote about any particular girl.
What? You're telling me that song is... we know you got a girlfriend, you're in love now, but that's not about a particular girl.
That one is not, no.
Okay, but my second favorite, maybe my first favorite, when I first listened to the album, is Hey Mama. That song, especially if you're a mom, it hits you right in the heart. Now, when you first played that for your mom, Did you play it to her, like send it to her, or did you play it to her in person?
I sent it to her.
Why did you not play it to her in person? So did she call you crying? Like, what was her reaction?
I mean, I wrote that. That's the oldest song on that record. I wrote that like as soon as I moved to Nashville in 2013, 14. And so back then, I'd written it with this guy, Joe Costa, that's in a duo. They're called Joe and Martina. And they had recorded their version of it. So I sent my mom that version of it. I don't know what her response was. I'm sure she was emotional about it.
Yes.
It's always been like a very special song that anytime I have played it and she's been there, which has happened, has been an emotional moment. But when I kind of started thinking about doing this record, that was one of the songs that I felt like should be on it.
Yes, and I'm so glad it is. Mm-hmm. And like right before we went live, you played a song, and then you're like, something really cool happened. And I'm like, I know this song because this is your song, but that's not your voice. And I'm like, I know this voice. Who is it? And it was
Tim McGraw.
And tell everybody, like, you're getting the exclusive because nobody else is going to hear this first.
Well, I really haven't told anybody about it.
And I'm so honored. I'm so honored you're sharing it now.
Because it's one of those things in Nashville, like being a songwriter, which really anything in life, but you have to sort of temper your expectations, otherwise you get disappointed. And cutting of songs, someone else recording what's called an outside song, meaning they didn't write it. A lot of different things, a lot of different stars have to align for that to even happen. And then once it happens, it has to make the record. And then it has to make the final version. And the record has to come out. So there's a lot of like, it's excitement, it's anticipation, but also like if it doesn't happen, you're not crushed.
Right.
And so it's one of those things I, until tonight, had kind of forgotten about because I hadn't really talked about it. But
because you don't want to get disappointed or get your hopes up.
There's a song in there called Fool Me Again that Tim McGraw cut. And it's track 7 on his record that comes out in August.
It's also a Rowdy song on his album. And so tell me, who did you write it about? Because that's a good song. Because it's like, you know, Fool Me Again, like, you kind of go your separate ways, but you'll get back together, and then you know the heartache is going to happen again.
I wrote it about my cat.
You wrote it about Clementine?
Yeah.
You did not write this song.
I didn't write it about her, no.
See, I'm so gullible, because I was like, what? Like, we were about to have a therapy
session. She is on the song,
session.
though, on the record.
She
At
is.
the very beginning, like 4 seconds in.
Was she meow?
Yep.
I didn't hear that, so I'm going to have to go back and listen because I missed
back in and listen. That's her. She's on the record, yeah.
So, you are really being like a lockbox. You don't want to tell me who it's about.
It would be... Why? Why would I do that?
Why would you write a song about somebody? Because you know that people are going to ask these questions.
But the mystery of it all is what makes it interesting.
Does she know? Does this mystery girl know it's about her?
No.
Really?
No.
Oh, she totally does.
Or she thinks she does.
Well, I know if it was me and it was one of my exes, I'd be like, that song is totally about me. Of course it is.
Yeah, why not?
So
that's gotten back to me over the years because like I grew up right down the road in Gastonia. It's a fairly little town. People know people.
And you used to play where? You played at Cody Joe's. Did you play at Frontier?
No, I never played at Frontier. Freeman's Pub. That was kind of my band back in the early days. We played at Freeman's Pub a lot.
Your album is out, WildCard, not the S, WildCard. How'd you come up with the name?
That's a question I haven't been asked yet. And there's a good story to that.
Yes.
Back when Luke, so to fast forward, nobody knows who the hell I am.
Everybody.
The story is
everybody knows who you are.
I met Luke Combs in 2013 and 2014, somewhere around there, and began writing songs.
Where'd you meet him?
In Nashville.
Just hanging out at a bar?
No. His high school I almost told the story backwards. My high school science teacher was his college roommate's mother. And so that was the connection. A very surreal sort of the universe bringing us together in that way at that time and space. He and I both sort of, the GOAT for us was Eric Church.
Really?
Yeah, at that time. And, Luke was going to App State. Eric's from Granite Falls. I was a huge fan. I had moved to Nashville wanting to do this songwriter thing. And so that connection was made by his roommate's mother, who hit me up. And then we met and we began writing songs. And quickly after writing songs, we jumped into Dodge Neon. And from there, it was just like,
Not a Dodge Neon.
Mm-hmm. Luke had a Dodge Neon, yeah. And
so the first time you go on stage, and then it comes into like y'all are playing at Bank of America Stadium, but y'all have played in like literally sold out shows for the past 2 years. Did you get nervous the first time? Like, were you like, oh my gosh?
No.
You don't seem like the nervous type. Like, you're very in control of your emotions and like.
A lot of people tell you I'm not. But no, I think it was always like I always felt I was at home doing that. And so therefore I wanted to throw caution to the wind and just to be able to do it, whatever that costs. So like I dropped out of Carolina after my freshman year, moved to Nashville when I was 19. I moved.
Was your mom like? Were your parents like? What are you doing, or did they support your decision?
Both.
Like, what are you doing? But go ahead and go for it. And the first time, it's because we're from the same kind of area. It's so weird because you're not just successful, you're mega successful. But to talk to you and to hang out with you, he's still like a hometown guy, and that's what I love because you meet so many people that once they've reached a certain level, their whole personality changes. Like, I've met so many, worked with people, and they become a totally different, like, person. And it's so disappointing. So it's really refreshing to hang out with you because you're still Rowdy. So WildCard. You Dodge Neon.
When we were riding around the Neon, and then it became like we needed a drummer and then a bass player, and then it became a band. I always wanted to call the band the WildCards. Luke Combs and the WildCards. And I don't know, that name always just kind of stuck with me. And so when it came, there's no song on the record called WildCard. It just, to me, sort of encapsulated what it was, which you're asking me about it. Like, I just wanted it to create this sort of interest in, what in the hell is that? Like, why do you do that?
And wild cards are always good.
Are they?
They're winners every time. You get that wild card, you're always going to win. Are you a poker player?
A terrible poker player. Too emotional.
He is so not emotional. Like, you're so like, I'm freaking out because it's lightning outside. You probably hear the thunder on this thing, and we're in a tin can, and he says he's not emotional. Meanwhile, right before we go live, I'm like, do you think we're going to die? Like, and you're like so calm about it. So when your mom, you get your first number, like, you wrote the song, and people don't realize, like, because you're so mellow about it, but you have to be extremely vulnerable to sit in a room full of people and you're songwriting and you're coming up with ideas together, and you have to put your heart on the line because these are your emotions coming out.
I don't think you have to be. I think if you want to be authentic, you have to be.
Or if you want to be successful. There's a lot of crap. Listen, we are on two different sides of the spectrum. Like, he's on the music making side and I'm on the side that plays the music that is created. And I will tell you, and a lot of people that listen to the radio or however you listen to music, there's a lot of crap out there. Like, a lot of crap. And that's why there's like 700 Luke Combs songs playing back to back to back. Because guys like him are allowing their vulnerability, and they're speaking what you feel inside. And that's the beautiful thing about music, is it takes you to a certain place and a certain feeling, and it makes you think about stuff. And what I loved about what we talked about earlier, he is such a great songwriter. He says, I don't want to write a song, and I don't want to speak for you, but you're not looking to write a song that's just going to air. You want to have the songs that, like, your kids and your grandkids are still listening to, like, current hits today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's deeply tied into this thing of, and I don't know how much we want to get into it, but like, I've been recorded. I did the album in Muscle Shoals at a studio called Fame, and there's a lot of history there with a guy named Rick Hall.
And the video is amazing that you put out, and I highly recommend you watch it.
But that sort of attraction to the history of that, I think resonated within me as a creative person or as a songwriter, because I'm drawn to wanting to make music that somebody's going to talk about well after it had its moment of popularity. Luke has a song out right now called Fast Car. That is a cover of a Tracy Chapman song. And that song, I believe, was released in the late 80s. Mm-hmm. That is what I'm talking about. The power of that song to come back in a different genre,
right,
by a man, at this time and sort of captivate people on that scale that they get to rediscover it. The same way that the guy driving the skateboard with the cranberry juice listening to Fleetwood Mac on the TikTok.
Right.
And suddenly everybody goes, what is this? That was 1979 that they recorded that record, Rumors. So people rediscovering this music is pretty indicative of what I want to make. Music that, like, if it's popular, great. I'm not here to debate, like, if it's good or not.
Right.
Something can be popular and people can resonate with it and it not be good or bad or whatever. I'm just talking about, does it have, if you hear the song Neon Moon, we listen to that 30 years later and they're going to be listening to it 100 years later. Because there's just something in that song emotionally that just, it crosses so many different barriers of human beings. That's the music I want to make.
And you are making. And I highly suggest, and y'all know me, like, I keep it real. Like, I will tell you if something sucks, if it's good. And that's what I try to tell Rowdy. Like, I'm not going to tell you to go listen to his album if it's not good, because I'm not going to waste your time. The album is amazing. And so if you didn't know he came out with an album called WildCard, you need to go listen to it. And I love Heartache Happens. I love that people like Tim McGraw and Luke Holmes and all these people are picking up his songs, but when you hear Rowdy sing it, like, it's a whole different level. And no disrespect to Tim McGraw, because he's awesome. But I also think that you're awesome. And he's in a different area in his life. And I respect that, because we all go through different seasons. And it's scary when you go down a path. Like, when you were 19 and you moved to Nashville and you had no idea what was going to happen.
Right.
That's scary. People don't get that. The same thing when I went to New York. Now you're doing it again.
It's way scarier at 36 than it was at 19.
But you've already been successful.
That doesn't matter. In fact, I think that makes it scarier. But my point being that you must have that sort of...
You always evolve.
...willingness to go and do that new thing. Otherwise...
The repetition gets boring. And now that you are 36 and you have Clementine and you have a girlfriend, and people don't understand the road life is hard.
Oh, absolutely.
And, like, I even told him, I mean, it's 11:15 and I'm like, dude, you got shows this weekend. I can't kidnap you all day. Like, I've had you all day. And he's still going. And whenever you're ready to plant down, and not saying he's planting down and getting married, I'm not starting rumors, but I'm saying he's got a cat that he loves. And it is hard being away from the cat that you love, because y'all know I can't be away from Charlie Roo. So I respect
hearing you say that's just something I never imagined that I'd hear said about myself.
Especially a cat. But you know what? God is so amazing, and I'm a faith-driven person, that the cat just randomly shows up at his house. Like, this cat... Because I follow you on Instagram, and if you don't follow him, you should follow Rowdy on Instagram, because he is very entertaining. But he always posts this cat.
Are you going to post my OnlyFans on here?
Oh my gosh, I should. I mean, you can make extra money.
Well, I got to feed that cat.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, here he is. Fans only. OnlyFans, I mean, a little backwards. But, you know, like, the cat just shows up, and that's not by mistake. Women want to know certain things, and I'm going to talk to you about the things women want to talk about. And
what do women want to know?
We want to know how long have you been in your relationship? Is Clementine going to be a part of the proposal?
I mean, what movie is this?
It's Lifetime. About? It's on Lifetime.
Yeah, this feels like you're trying to script some sort of... You're wanting the viewer... Just clickbait.
Well, I always try to get, like, the best stuff. Like, you hear it here first.
Clickbait there.
Okay, just change the subject to make you not uncomfortable. He does not have his Waffle House hat on, because I was totally stealing it if he did, and wear it to the concert Saturday. Because Luke Holmes, you are playing. This is my first time getting to see Rowdy perform live. You are. Saturday you're going to be on the stage, and I'm so excited. So what should we wear to the...
Why are you telling these people lies?
Are you looking me in my eyes right now and telling me you're not going to be on the stage Saturday?
I don't know.
You are daggum lie.
I really don't know. I haven't decided yet. This is up to Luke. This is not my show.
Okay, this man did not ride on a tour bus around the mountain.
I'm from here.
Well, then why didn't you ride in your Jeep? He's a Jeeper, fellow Jeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Beep, beep.
You do the wave?
I do. All of them.
How do you? Okay, I wonder which one you do. But
that
boom, tracks
boom.
That you do all of them, yeah.
So if you're going to the concert, this is the one and only Rowdy.
I hate to let you down, but like I may not even be there, but
Oh my
Whatever
gosh, you are
need to do,
such a
Whatever
liar.
you need to do for the viewers, you know.
Are you?
You're just lying to these people out here.
He is such a liar. This is not just Kings Mountain. And so I highly recommend, if you don't have your tickets yet, to get your tickets.
How are they going to get tickets? It's sold out.
It is sold out, but you know there's scalpers out there.
No,
SeatGeeks, Ticketmaster.
Don't pay for the scalp tickets. Sneak in.
How do you sneak in?
I couldn't tell. That's asking me to incriminate myself on audio and video.
We're going to wrap this up because I hear all this thunder and all I can think of is I got to get this guy home because I don't want his mama to be mad at me if lightning strikes his tin can and she hasn't seen you yet. And
that would be terrible.
Yeah, and I don't want to be blamed for that. But Rowdy, thank you so much.
Ma'am.
You are the most humble megastar in the world.
Thank you for saying all these things, and I'll put your check in the mail.